Starkville wins the award for Best Small Town in the United States in USA Today. The details on what it took to win.
We share some information and tips for preparing for a stormy spring in Mississippi. Stay tuned to see what you do if you're on campus during the severe weather alert.
And meal plans may see a big change in this upcoming school year at Mississippi State. Coming up, we tell you what to expect from dining services and what students might think. Take 30 News starts right now. The 6 former Mississippi law enforcement officers known as the Goon Squad received prison sentences from a state court Wednesday. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Moriah Norman.
And I'm Amy Sellars. Those sentences range from 15 to 45 years. Last month, the 5 former deputies from the Rankin County Sheriff's Office and 1 from the Richland Police Department received federal sentences ranging from 10 to 40 years. These punishments are connected to a January 23rd incident where the officers tortured and abused 2 black men.
Yes, we would have preferred that a couple of more years of time were added on to the defendant's sentences. However, we respect the judgment of this court. We respect the wisdom of this court. And Mississippi has spoken here. This is Mississippi. This has never happened in Mississippi. Justice has come in Mississippi.
It came to light after the 2 victims filed a $400 million federal lawsuit, which is still pending.
Severe weather swept across Mississippi this past week. Cassidy Lambert is in the newsroom with the details. Cassidy.
Many people across the state of Mississippi have been experiencing rainy and stormy weather this past week, and the conditions continue to worsen.
This past week, residents of Mississippi were hit with harsh weather conditions, including rain, thunderstorms, and even tornadoes. Many different counties in the state were affected by the storms.
Straight line winds hit the tree. The tree just fell on my house.
What time was that?
I'm traumatized. I really don't know.
Where were you at the time?
In this bedroom.
What went through your mind when you heard that?
My kids. Get my kids as fast as I could.
The Mississippi Emergency Management Agency is working with the affected counties to assess the damage from the severe weather on April 9th and 10th. At this time, 2 deaths have been reported in Scott and LaFleur counties, 6 injuries due to the recent storms and flooding. Statewide, counties have reported that 179 homes suffered damages due to the weather.
It's a mess, but we're blessed. Thankfully, we're blessed. If the wind had carried it the other way, it would have hit the house. So we're fortunate, very fortunate.
A levee in Yazoo County broke after the flooding, and officials say residents were evacuated. The water caused significant erosion to the road, and the levee will have to be repaired. While the weather is not an issue anymore, cleanup and damage control procedures are still underway for the affected counties.
Though the weather has improved, the work is not over. Now it is time to clean up the mess that the storm left in its wake. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Cassidy. After the extreme conditions from this past week, we may be seeing some calmer skies. With us now is meteorologist McKinley to tell us more.
Yes, and luckily we have seen those storms begin to clear out of the area. We're just left with a high pressure system that's giving us clear sky conditions across much of the southeast as those storms do move up the east coast. We're going to stay mostly dry for the rest of today and heading into tomorrow. So a great evening to end off our Friday. There's a live look across Mississippi State's campus. Beautiful clear skies out there, and we're going to continue to see those clear sky conditions stick around for today and even into tomorrow. That's going to allow our temperatures to warm up nicely throughout the weekend, looking at those temperatures warming up into the 80s.
While storms are no stranger to Mississippi, do you know what to do when they take a turn for the worst? Take 30's Kylie Simonton tells us how to protect ourselves this spring.
Spring has officially come to Starkville, and with that, more severe weather patterns. But why is it that every April we see these severe systems?
So with these storms, they can sometimes become severe with tornadoes, as well as hurricanes, strong winds, hail, that sort of thing. So that's when we're going to see the biggest threat, and we're really going to feel it here in Mississippi, being so close to both regions. We're going to have that clashing air mass.
The state of Mississippi says that the most dangerous months for severe weather are March, April, and May.
Well, the weather I'm standing in is just a little bit of light rain and some winds. Mississippi State students still need to know where to go when a spring shower like this turns into something more severe.
When students were asked where they would go in the case of a severe weather threat, their responses ranged from decisive.
In the case of a tornado, I would go to the auditorium in Allen.
Yes, basement of Hardman.
To a bit more apathy.
If a tornado, if I can't see it, then I just don't believe that it's going to hit me, so I don't really go find shelter.
So, where should you go during a severe weather threat? According to the university guidelines, you should follow your building's emergency response plan and get to the lowest floor. Most buildings on campus also feature rooms marked with a tornado sticker, which designate tornado-safe areas. Just a few of these include classrooms in the basement of Lee, the Union ground floor bathrooms, and classrooms in the basement of McComas. Above all, however, guidelines state that you should not leave the building you are currently in if a tornado warning is issued. So stay safe and know your plan this spring. For Take 30 News, I'm Callie Simonton.
For more information on MSU's emergency guidelines or to sign up for maroon alerts, please visit the Offices of Emergency Management's website.
We here at MSU believe we have the best university in the U.S.
And now we can brag that we also have the best small town in the U.S. Take 30's John Addy has more.
It's official. Starkville is the best small town in the South. This comes from USA Today's Reader's Choice Awards. USA Today held a 4-week voting competition to decide which of 20 small towns would take the title as the best, and Starkville never faltered. Paige Hunt, the Director of Tourism, talks about why she thinks Starkville received this honor and why it's so important for Starkville as a community.
I think that this recognition allows us to share our story with potential visitors in a really succinct way. Like, why wouldn't you want to come and experience the best small town in the South?
USA Today holds their annual voting competitions every year, finding the best of the best in every category, from best luxury hotel to the best rodeo. Starkville was announced the winner of the best small town in the South this Thursday, and the announcement has taken well to social media. Many posts were made from the city and university bragging about Starkville's newest title. Lizzie Mortensen, a Starkville resident, tells us why she believes Starkville is the best small town in the South.
We have Mississippi State, our university. That's the center and heart of our town. We have an amazing community of people, Starkville Strong, who helps people all around town and the community. And we just have a lot of things that are special to us that maybe not a lot of outsiders see.
Starkville has seen many upgrades recently, and those seem to have paid off. While it's always a debate on whose small town is better, USA Today seems to have settled the debate. With Take 30 News, I'm John Addy.
Starkville won the award over nearly 20 other southern small towns.
Coming up, what to expect in the next year for campus dining. Stay with us.
Farming can be a tough way to make a living. Weather, pricing pressures, and unpredictable swings in demand can take a toll, not only on farmers' finances, but on their mental health, as well as that of family members and farm workers. That's why Mississippi State University is spearheading a program to train extension agents to detect the signs of depression, substance abuse, and other stress-related challenges. Everyone has a bad day, of course, but this holistic view of a farmer's circumstances enables MSU representatives to recognize the difference between routine struggles and deeper, more serious issues. It may be a tough conversation, but the sooner it gets started, the sooner farmers can get help to better manage stress and continue the important work of growing the products our world needs. Caring for farms and farmers. Mississippi State University.
The 22nd live Bulldog mascot, Dak, has gained some national notoriety. In a poll held by College Football Select on X, Bully 22 faced off against some college notable mascots such as West Virginia University's Mountaineer and Auburn University's Albie the Tiger. One of the biggest events on Mississippi State's campus returns tomorrow. Tomorrow is the annual International Fiesta, which is sponsored by the Holmes Cultural Diversity Center. The event starts at 11 a.m. with the flag parade. Then the events truly begin. The events feature different international student organizations and clubs. There will be a main stage with cultural performances, food for people to try, and games. The event is free for everyone, and Director Carolina Kashukna urges everyone in the community to come and celebrate.
A great immersive experience where you can learn about different cultures. You can be a part of this festival, which is everybody talk about as the biggest and the most fun event. Even if you Google on things to do in Starkville, that's what's going to pop up. It's International Fiesta. And it's just a great experience, great learning opportunity to learn about different cultures and countries.
The International Fiesta hopes to show everyone that different cultures can come together on this great campus we all share.
This week has been Research Week at Mississippi State. As AR1 Doctoral University, MSU is classified as having very high research activity. The week began with art student exhibitions and is ending today with the Undergraduate Research Symposium and Startup Summit Grand Finale. For the Research Symposium, those undergraduate students who participated in research are able to present some of their findings to guests and judges. On top of this, students can be nominated to win special scholarships. Senior presenter Ali Koenig says the symposium is so important to the students participating.
This just makes all of the hard work and all of our research worth it because you get to put it all on this piece of paper and show everything that we've worked for.
The university continues its excellence in research every day and will continue to celebrate the faculty and students who partake in it. Fall of 2024 at Mississippi State will see a new meal plan system, but how these changes will affect students, Take 30's Jackson Gregg has the breakdown of these changes.
The fall 2024 semester at MSU will see a structure change for students' meal plans. Flex dollars are now being rebranded to Dog Dollars. Block meals will now be worth $8 rather than $6.25. But how do students feel about their rhythm being messed with?
So I don't personally have a meal plan anymore, but when I did like freshman year, I feel like that would have been a big boost because I feel like oftentimes I'd go to Chick-fil-A and I'd be like only be able to get a sandwich, only be able to get nuggets. So maybe I'll be able to add fries, add a drink or whatever. It just fills you up a little bit more. I feel like it would be a pretty nice boost.
The biggest new change is the removal of the unlimited meal plan, which may stir up some controversy with students who just wanted a meal plan and didn't want to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Students will have weekly meal plans to choose from instead of it being done by semester in the past. Students have tons of work to do, and navigating a more complex meal plan can add to the workload.
So I've heard a rumor that we're going to have to start scanning every single time we get a plate at dining halls, and as a broke college student, for me, I just don't think that it's worth paying for a meal plan anymore if you have to scan every single time I get a plate.
The future will only tell. Students have mixed views on the new plan, but either way, MSU will be filled with feasts. With Take 30 News, I'm Jackson Gray.
MSU also is constructing Azalea Hall, a nearly $100 million residence hall that will serve as a central hub for campus life, dining, and other community needs for decades to come. Stay with us while we hear from McKinley Dean for this week's weather.
Discovery. It tells our history and determines our future. At Mississippi State University, we're digging deep, unlocking an understanding of our past, validating it. Middle East exploration by faculty and students is uncovering evidence that unravels ancient mysteries. Scholars have long thought of the biblical kings David and Solomon as mythological figures. Our research offers evidence that supports their existence, boosting MSU into an international league of experts on archaeology. Now we're changing the way people think about the past, opening up new possibilities of understanding for future generations. Digging deeper, learning more.
And
and welcome back. We saw those storms earlier this week that caused lots of flooding and some storm damage to our south, but luckily those storms have since passed on, now making their way up to the east coast. And we have this high pressure system just along our Gulf Coast that's going to continue to circulate in some of that more warmer air and clear sky conditions. So right now, here's a live look across Mississippi State's campus, just those clear blue skies. We're going to continue to see those as we continue through the rest of our Friday evening. And temperatures right now still pretty warm out there, sitting into the 70s for a lot of us, sitting at 70 for Houston and Starkville, as well as Fulton, 72 there in Tupelo, slightly cooler in Pontotoc at 66 and 68 there in Coffeyville. We're going to continue to see fairly warm temperatures for now, but as we head into the later portion of our Friday evening, if you have any plans, temperature is going to be dropping pretty quickly into the 50s. So if you're heading out to the Mississippi State baseball game later on tonight, you're going to want to have that jacket handy. By the end of the game, temperature is going to be into the middle to upper 50s. And then eventually by tonight, temperatures dropping into the 40s. So one more pretty chilly night for us out there. That's because of those clear sky conditions. Lots of us seeing those temperatures into the middle to upper 40s, sitting at 48 tonight for Starkville, 46 for Houston, as well as Pontotoc and Tupelo, 45 there in Fulton. So overall, going to be another pretty cold night. So if you have any outdoor plans, going to want to bring that jacket handy with you. It's going to be another cold one. So looking ahead towards tonight, still mostly clear conditions for later on tonight into the early portions of our Saturday. We're going to see that high pressure system build its way in across the coast, and that's going to bring in a little bit more of that warmer air and also more humid air. So humid conditions as well as warmer temperatures going to be making their way across northeast Mississippi tomorrow, and through this weekend we'll see a few clouds starting to work their way in through the mid-morning of our Sunday. Then for the rest of our Sunday, staying mostly clear and mostly dry. So luckily no rain in the forecast for this weekend, and even into our Monday staying clear as well. So temperatures for tomorrow going to be warmer, a lot warmer into the 80s for a lot of us here across northeast Mississippi. So overall going to be a pleasant day to get outside, enjoy this weekend after all the rain we had earlier this week. We're going to continue to see pleasant conditions for the rest of this weekend for Saturday and Sunday. Looking ahead at our 7-day forecast, temperatures staying into the 80s for the rest of this weekend and into next week. We'll see some rain chances starting to make their way in by Tuesday evening and into our Wednesday. We'll be right back with sports.
When it comes to making the world a better place, it's all in the numbers at Mississippi State University. Our big data science researchers are creating astonishing new algorithms to model human behavior and consumer activity to identify anomalous purchasing patterns. Interpreting the data creates heat maps that can signal fraudulent activity and even predict likely cybercrime locations and perpetrators. And as the only academic institution to team with a state-level DHS agency in the study of transactional data of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, MSU is helping prevent misuse while ensuring that benefits are being used as intended. These successes are opening doors for similar research partnerships with banking, insurance, credit card, and other data-intensive industries, leading to consumer confidence in online and other transactions. Making numbers count. Mississippi State University. The sense of place. We all have it. Often grown from deep roots in small-town communities. At Mississippi State University, our Carl Small Town Center is strengthening these ties. With nearly 40 years of making a difference, we're revitalizing communities into welcoming places to work, live, and congregate. By weaving together the best pieces of our past with modern technology and amenities, we're creating the hometowns of the future. Places where lifetime memories can be made, where you have all the things you need, along with all the things you want. Through partnerships with our communities, we're identifying improvement opportunities, recommending paths forward, and creating the plans for a better tomorrow.
Welcome back to Take 30. I'm Eli Willson, and this is your week's sports update. The Diamond Dogs take a trip to Oxford this weekend for a 3-game series against our in-state rival, Ole Miss. The team is currently looking to stay in the top half of the standings. State is currently tied at 6th in the SEC standings, and the Bulldogs are also up to number 22 in the D1 baseball rankings. It has been a long time since Mississippi State has lost a series to Ole Miss. In fact, I was in the 7th grade the last time we dropped a series, and I'm graduating college in 28 days. That amounts to 3,261 days. Hopefully the Diamond Dogs can continue their dominating success tonight, as Game 1 is tonight on SEC Network at 7 p.m. Now let's hear from Elizabeth Keene in the newsroom about last week's chaotic series against Georgia.
Well, Eli, on Saturday night, an unprecedented event in Mississippi State's baseball game against Georgia led to a series of ejections and an outcry in the world of college baseball. Here's how it all went down.
In the top of the 8th inning, Georgia outfielder Dylan Carter was thrown out at home while trying to score the team's go-ahead run with 2 outs. Fans at Duty Noble Field celebrated, but their cheers quickly turned to shock as MSU catcher Johnny Long got up from his position. Long stood over Carter, yelling and pushing his knee into the runner's ribs. Players from both teams ran onto the field, the majority of whom were attempting to calm the situation before coaches and umpires sent everyone back to their dugouts. After a 40-minute review, 6 starters for MSU and a handful of Georgia players were ejected with no explanation. State was forced to use pitchers as defensive players and ultimately lost 3-2. To say head coach Chris Lemonis was angry about the outcome would be an understatement.
But that's bad. That's not the interpretation of the rule. If it's an interpretation of the rule, then everybody should have been thrown out and it should have been a forfeit. But it was who came out of the dugout that we could identify, who didn't have a hoodie on, who my team was on the field.
The SEC rulebook states that any players who leave the dugout or their position on the field during an altercation are to be ejected and suspended for the next game. MSU's players were already leaving their on-field spots because the 3rd out had been recorded. Many players who left the dugout for either team were not punished. An additional note on this rule says that coaches and players who make contact with others to prevent a fight will not be suspended. Aside from Long, most players on both teams were non-confrontational. Lemonis did note that SEC offices elsewhere made the call to eject only certain players, not the umpires on the field. Mississippi State worked overnight to appeal the ruling with SEC offices, and it paid off. On Sunday morning, Athletic Director Zach Selman released a statement on X, a portion of which said, quote, "After hours of thorough dialogue and facts presented, our entire roster will be available to play today, with the exception of number 18 and number 40. Long and starting 3rd baseman Logan Kohler were the 2 Mississippi State players suspended for Sunday's game. Although the reason for Kohler's suspension is still unknown, Georgia had 1 starter and 2 other players ejected. But all's well that ends well for the Diamond Dogs. State defeated Georgia 9-8 on Sunday to calm the series amidst the chaos.
Mississippi State's SEC Series victory against Georgia was its 2nd of the season. The Diamond Dogs are currently 6-6 in SEC play and tied for 6th in the SEC standings. Back to you, Eli.
Spring training recently started for football, and with the spring game approaching, our Luke Freeman talks about the impact of team managers.
Mississippi State football is known nationwide. Hundreds of staff members work every day to help the team be successful. There are a lot of eyes watching the players, but not enough on the student managers. The football managers play a crucial behind-the-scenes role in the football program. They are responsible for a wide range of tasks that support the coaching staff and players. Their duties include practice organization, equipment, and ensuring that everything runs smoothly on and off the field. While the work might go unnoticed by the fans, they directly impact the team's performance.
Every day we get there before the players and coaches for practice. We set up the drills, we set up everything they need, along with everything in the locker rooms. Do that day to day and on game days. You know, sometimes I like to think of us as unsung heroes.
While most managers work for the money, others work because they want to be a part of their favorite team.
I really just love Mississippi State. I remember going to games with my grandparents growing up, and I always really wanted to be on the field, and I think that being a manager was really my chance to do that.
With home decor like this, it's easy to tell he's a loyal MSU football fan. Mississippi State is currently preparing for their 2024 season with their new head coach, Jeff Levy. With the help of the student managers, they plan on having a winning season. We're all super excited to see the Bulldogs play next semester. With Take 30 News, I'm Luke Freeman.
The managers will be at the spring game during Super Bulldog Weekend. Super Bulldog Weekend is right around the corner. Next weekend, it kicks off with baseball against Auburn Friday night at 6 p.m. Then Saturday, we have the Maroon and White spring game at 1 p.m., followed by the second game against Auburn for baseball at 5 p.m. Then Sunday, we have the series final at 1 p.m. Fans can get a look at Jeff Levy's offense. Wide receiver Creed Whitmore says he's excited about the offense.
Well, I think, Coach Levy's all about scoring. And, I think y'all could see today that's what we're going to do. We throw the ball deep and, his schemes and, plays are set up to, push the ball down the field. So I think, it's one of a kind. Nobody does it. We snap the ball fast and run a lot of plays, so it's going to be fun.
Fans can expect a high-flying offense this next season, which will be welcome change after an offensive struggles last season. That keeps. MSU softball has a special series this weekend. Take a look.
A big-time matchup taking place at News Park this weekend, as the number 4 Tennessee Volunteers make way to Starkville to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. However, this weekend means a lot more than just softball. This weekend honors former Mississippi State Bulldog Alex Wilcox. All for Alex weekend is meant to honor Alex's legacy and the footprint she left in Starkville during her battle with ovarian cancer. The team will not only be wearing their special teal jerseys to honor Alex, but you'll also see head coach Samantha Ricketts rocking some kicks. Make sure you get your tickets early because this weekend is expected to be fan-packed. I'm Chris Doherty with Take 30 Sports.
Can we get our one last look at weather before we close off for this evening with Take 30?
Yes, overall we're having pleasant conditions to end off this work week and into our weekend. Warm and dry is the story for the next several days before we have our next rain chance for the middle part of our next week, and temperatures will stay into the 80s for the rest of next week.
Thank you so much for joining in to Take 30 News this week. I'm Moriah Norman.
I'm Amy Sellars.
I'm Eli Willson.
And I'm McKinley Dean.
And we will see you next week.